Hey, what's happening, guys? So, I know the title is a little crazy, but as it suggests, I'm gonna give you a sneak peek into my life story. It's important, I think, because I hope to start to really grow as a channel and as an instructor, and I think it's important for everyone to know the difference between me and the more traditional self-defense instructors out there. So my story starts in New Bedford, Massachusetts in 1978. I was born in the blizzard of 78. Living in a housing projects at the time. Of course, I didn't remember that. Obviously, I was just a little infant, but then we were able to move into an apartment eventually, and then my memories start there. Obviously, 5 or 6 years old, and born to like ex-hippie type parents. So I guess a lot of kids had drugs and alcohol in the household in the late 70s and early 80s. But my that's the way it was in my house as a child. It was drinking and drugs were just a normal part of every week, every weekend, whatever it was. So then we eventually moved into a single family home. I was about probably 9-ish, 8 or 9 or 10 at the time, in a rough neighborhood, but it was okay. We had, if anybody's familiar with me or New Bedford at all, I knew it was Park Street where I lived. It's right in between the United Front Housing Project and West Lawn Housing Project. So this is where we grew up, and I had a lot of really good memories there, a lot of good friends, and we just we knew what it was. We lived and shared a neighborhood with gangsters and killers and drug dealers, and that's just the way it was. So I took to the streets fairly easily later on in life. At this point, obviously, we were just kids, but we were tough kids. We started a little backyard boxing club, and we would beat the shit out of each other on my buddy Tyson's deck, and so we were all pretty tough kids, and we were always fighting, always in little squabbles amongst each other and other neighborhood kids. And then, I don't know what happened to me around probably fifth, 6th grade. I was maybe it was pre-puberty, but I went through this period of time where I was afraid of everything. I was scared to fight now, scared to box. Even in the I would backyard boxing. I didn't want to do it. I was always scared of everything, and it was weird. I don't know what it was, but that lasted maybe a year or two. But then I don't know, the summer before 7th grade flipped the switch. I went out of town to go to school, and I started hanging around with a skateboarding crowd, and at the time skateboarding was illegal. So these kids were more of the outcasts, more of the kids kind of like me, drug. My mother, unfortunately, never grew out of the alcoholism and drugs. She was a drug addict and alcoholic for basically my entire teenage life, but she ended up going to rehab and getting straight into way, and me and my mother had and still do have a very close relationship. Even though she lives in Florida, she was a good mother. I'm not saying that. My father was a good father also. He was a good man, but he had no conviction. He was very soft. He didn't stand up for himself, and he never stood up for his family. I never understood that, and I still don't understand that now, especially being a father. If somebody ever said anything bad about my children, I don't care if they're wrong or not. You don't talk fucking shit about my kids, period. But my father was not that man. He had zero conviction for some reason. Doesn't make sense, because he was a good man and an intelligent man. Still is. But anyways, back to me. So, the summer before 7th grade and hanging with these skateboarders, that was it. The switch flipped, and I was a holy terror. I mean, I was just constantly fighting. I loved it. Maybe I was making up for those 2 years of being afraid of everything, or I don't know what it was, but I started to rack up quite a reputation as a street fighter, and a pretty good street fighter. And then I really found a real crew to run with, and at 14, I got that tattoo. And if you guys don't know what that means, then Google it. I'm not going to explain it to you. So I started running with those guys, and that's when unfortunately the stupid little squabbles and street fights turned into something a little more serious. And although I had been arrested quite a few times as a juvenile, now I hit like 17 and I was an adult. So I started racking up a shitload of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. I had an attempted murder charge knocked down to an assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, thank God. So this lasted for, started acting like an asshole probably at about 13 until about 28, 29, yeah, 10 years ago maybe. So when I tell you I bring some real world experience to the self-defense game, I'm not pulling your leg. This is serious. I showed you guys my record in a previous video, and I'm not going to talk about particular fights. I mean, once in a while, maybe I do, because I get reminded of it, and I think they're funny stories. So, but if you want to hear the stories, just ask, and I'll tell the stories. I don't care. Especially now that I'm not that same man, guys. I'm a completely different person. I'm a father and then a husband of my high school sweetheart, and brings me back to the story of myself. So this goes on, and then I'm 20 years old, 19, and I meet. Well, my wife that I met junior year, she's my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, I met her junior year, and we fell in love, and we got pregnant. So at 20, I had my daughter, and I still, had 5 or 6 years, maybe a little longer, of acting like an asshole, and now I had a daughter to support, so I started doing things to make money, which I'm not going to get into, but you can use your imagination. And so this, again, went on, another probably 6-7 years until I was 28. One thing that helped is I got into a horrific car accident at 21, broke my femur, and I was all busted up. So when I was in the hospital, I had some time to think, and this is when I switched from street fights to sport fighting. When I got out of the hospital and healed up, I went to a boxing gym. And it literally, the combination of a good woman, my daughter being born, and then finding sport fighting, it saved my life. I was on trial at the time for assault and a battery with a dangerous weapon, and I had 2 years hanging over my head. I was sure I was going to prison. And by the grace of God, I didn't beat it. I got charged with a felony assault and battery, but no jail time. Basically, I had a 2-year suspended sentence and then some probation after, so that worked out the best it could. But so then I found sport fighting, and I'll do another video about my bio in sport fighting and who I've trained with, and that way But this was just a little, a little confession of a criminal turned good man. Thanks, guys, for watching. I appreciate it. Please like the channel and, share it. I hope to, you guys are learning some stuff. And this is really a passion for me, guys. It's not, I don't give a shit about making money. It was like, oh, you can make some money, you get popular. I don't give a fuck about that. I do it for free. I even teach my class for free. So come on down, train with me. KO Gym, New Bedford, Mass. It's at 50 Conduit Street, 2nd floor. Come check me out, guys. We got some other stuff going on there, too. We got Muay Thai and all kinds of other stuff. So come on down. Like I said, it's cheap, cheap, cheap. I offer my services for basically nothing. So, all right, guys. Thanks a lot. Please share the video and like it. I know I said that already, but I go crazy. I got rant time. Thanks, guys. Being prepared is not paranoid. Later.